Welcome to Exposing Ratio Benjor.
We were each other's one and only. We had never had sex with anybody else before, and still to this date have not. And it's something that a lot of people sometimes have questions about when it comes to growing up really religious and how you kind of navigate that whole side of things, especially if you've never done that with anybody before. And so that's something that we really wanted to dive into.
We were both very Mormon. We served missions and were very faithful. And so we never did anything with anybody. And for a lot of people, that's a bit of a struggle because when they're about to get married, they're really scared. And so for you, I guess, how did you feel with the wedding coming up?
I think for me, I had never really given, I think we're not allowed to say the sex word. So I'd never given much thought about it really before, just because I never had a lot of those natural inclinations. Even when I would kiss guys or make out with guys, I didn't feel the desire to go any further. So for me, it really wasn't something that I started thinking about until we got engaged. And then all of a sudden it got really scary. Because the only thing I remember is my sister is a gynecologist, and her always telling me sex is terrible, it's gonna hurt really bad, don't get pregnant. I think she was telling me that because she wanted to scare me out of having sex. But for me, I just the idea of doing something that I had no idea what it was just really scary.
Yeah, so for a lot of girls, I guess they're a lot more afraid than guys, right? For guys, it's pretty easy. But yeah, I guess it's very common among nice Christian virgin girls. And so what did you do before to prepare, or do you feel like you were not prepared for a wedding night?
Oh, I was totally not prepared, I think. I went on a work trip, and the girls on the work trip knew that we were getting married, and I was like, yeah, I'm a virgin. And they, number one, thought that was wild. They're like, there's no way you're marrying someone without ever having done anything with them. That's crazy. But then the other thing is well, you have how do you practice? And I was joking I don't know, I can't even get a tampon in. And they were like, what? So they went to the drugstore, they bought a thing of tampons, and they were sitting outside the door trying to coach me. Okay, now you put the tampon here and put it here and you shove it in. And it hurt really bad because I never put anything in.
And you didn't even do it, right? Or you took it off right away?
No, I couldn't even get it in because it was hurting. Because I know my mom always told me only whores wear tampons. So all of it leading up, and then that experience made me even more afraid, I guess. And for you, obviously, you were afraid. Did you ever were you even thinking much about it? Or I mean, probably, of course.
Well, I wasn't preparing for it. I guess the only thing that we did do is that we went to a shop with my groomsmen, and we bought a tuxedo underwear. So that's how I prepared. I prepared buying that.
Buying underwear that was
it's like a boxer, right? But it's like a tuxedo. So that was all my preparation there.
No lubrication.
We didn't even buy lube. We had no idea. We didn't even look it up, I guess. We didn't think of lube. But one of her friends brought lube and gifted us lube. And that was amazing because we just thought of condoms, right? We didn't want to get pregnant.
Yeah.
But that was it. I didn't think about lube. So I guess...
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess I thought that there really wasn't going to be all that much to it. And just especially when you are raised uber religious, I don't know. There's just this taboo. Nobody wants to talk about it. And I don't get it. I wish that they had a class for girls. When you're engaged and they give you all the nitty gritty, okay, this is what you got to do. You got to prepare with this. It's going to hurt. You got to do this. Because they just think by not talking about it, it's going to stop you from doing it. That's not true. If you're even getting into being married and you have no idea what's about to happen, it's scary. I was freaking out the whole time. And I think a really important thing is to, whether you decide to wait till you're married like we did, or, you don't, I think it is still so important to, when you lose your virginity to somebody, it has to be somebody super patient, super aware that this is gonna not be probably what they're expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, because I guess for us, how different was it from what you were expecting it to be?
I wasn't expecting anything. I didn't think about how it should go. I think the problem is when we have the shoulds, right? We think something should go a certain way. That's when we get fucked up because our expectations are bad.
Yeah.
So I had no expectations. I just know that when I get nervous, I gotta poop. And so We have our wedding. We go to the hotel right by in Salt Lake, the like Grand America Hotel.
Yeah.
And I had to poop right away, but that's normal. Like whenever I have to speak on stage, do anything, that's like I'm a bit nervous. I always gotta poop before. And so that's the first thing that I do. I go to the bathroom to poop. And then you were changing, I think, right? You're getting ready.
I was taking out my hair extensions like one by one.
There you go.
And I'm just sitting there and he comes out to this big clump there. And then like I think I did put on lingerie.
Yeah, so I put on lingerie, she looked great. And then we started, right? So we started, and what happened? I guess what happened as we tried?
Well, skimming over some of the details that are unimportant. When the time came for the P to V action, it hurt really bad. Honestly, you can think about it as like trying to like fit a hot dog in a keyhole. Like it just wasn't computing. Like there was like no space for anything. And I actually started like tearing a little bit. I started bleeding. So it was pretty not exciting. Because instead of it being like this big, like passionate thing,
she was really scared, right? Like
I was so tense.
And like she's always been really afraid of needles. Before we did all this plastic surgery and stuff, she was not used to needles. Now I think that's helped, right? Exposure therapy.
Exposure to pain, right? Because even when somebody's like, oh, it's gonna be kind of uncomfortable, like you're nervous and it's a little uncomfortable. So like I think the pain gets heightened in your head. Right, so I was just like really scared to be like, stop. So,
yeah.
And then here's the tough thing is like, okay, so that first night we didn't do like traditional P to V.
Right, it didn't happen, right? So the whole thing didn't happen. We did other things. Now, tip though, that one of the guys from my mission that had got married told me, and I don't know if we did it, but we definitely tried it later, was the girl on top, right, instead of the guy, because then she can control the speed. So that's a tip there that helped us tons. But first night, we did not go all the way in. We had to do other things, which worked out fine. Like I wasn't first, like we had our whole lives to do it. So like, why would you be frustrated, right? Like there's no rush. And so we kept trying for a long time, right? I think it took us a whole month to go all the way in. So
and you know what? For people thinking that that's weird, I actually talked to other girls from my mission who said the same thing, that it was like took a month. Because here's the thing, when you do it and it tears, then it's like super raw and sore for the next like 2 days. So then you can't do anything until it's healed, or you can, but it's horribly painful. It's like trying to poop when you've already like ripped your anus, and then you have to poop again and you're like crying, pooping. That's exactly what it feels
motherhood.
like. That's
right?
why I'm having a C-section, because I'm not going to deal with that. But that it burns. Like even peeing would burn. I was literally sitting, we were on a cruise, so I'd sit in the bathroom, and every time I peed, I would like cry a little because it burned really bad. So then I would try to let myself heal. We'd try again. I would rip.
Now I have a question for you, because we tried little by little, and I think that was part of the problem, because ripped, healing, trying again, hurting again, ripped. Do you think that if you had the guts to do it all at once, it would have been less painful because you would have gotten used to it faster rather than ripping little by little?
I think, yeah. Here's the thing. Fear is something that really psychologically has physical effects on you. And so I was so scared that I think even if I could go back in time and tell myself, hey, Rachel, it's really not going to be that bad. Like, just get it all out of the way at once. It wasn't so much in my head, because in my head I was like, yeah, duh, I know, just like rip me open. That's fine. Just like go for it. But your body like tenses up, and it just felt like impossible. And so something, if I could go back and tell myself, I don't know if it would have meant that we would have done it all at once, but was to go on top. Because I felt so much more comfortable.
But even going on top, you go little by little, right?
Well, that's what I did.
So I think that maybe just going all the way in would have been easier than a month of torturing yourself, right?
Sure. Yeah, it would have been. I think you have to experience things and get used to them for you to become more comfortable with them. And I think for some people, doing it all, getting it all at once might have been okay, but I feel like that might have scarred me.
Maybe.
Like, it might have been like, I don't want to try again for a week.
Then you could have taken a month to actually do it again, right? So
yeah, because like I could have done everything.
But I will say, when we actually finally did it all the way in, you were just frustrated. I remember now. You're just tired of it. You're like,
I was.
I'm done with this.
I was so
So
mad.
like, okay, let's do this, you know?
Yeah, I was like, I remember like crying to you at night because I felt like such a bad wife. Like, I can't even do this. Like, and this is the fun part of being married. And like,
Yeah.
I was so frustrated. And like, props to you for being like so patient and nice. Because I think a lot of people would have been like, okay, you're being a stupid bitch.
Yeah,
like,
the
just
frustration was building up. So I think that was the bad part.
Yeah,
But then it got it to be to a point like, which is in life, right? Like sometimes you just are tired of yourself. And then you go and do the thing that has to be done, right?
And then it wasn't that bad. Like, I think all of the anger, I was more angry at that point and frustrated than I was afraid of pain. So something always has to outweigh. Like, your desire for one thing has to be stronger than your fear of it.
Yeah.
And so I think the frustration and anger of like, okay, it's been a whole month and I still am not able, because I want to enjoy it too. Like, I felt bad for you, but also for me. I'm like, I would like to enjoy this part of being married too. And I was so excited about not like the saxophone element of it, but like the intimacy. Like, and I just felt like it wasn't a very intimate experience because it was like I was feeling so frustrated the whole time. So I think you just have to have the desire and frustration more than like the pain of it's gonna hurt.
Speaking of intimacy though, I feel like one of the scariest parts for me is just being completely naked in front of somebody.
Which is so
I've never been naked in front of anybody before, right? Like even at school, like we had separate showers, so we're not like, I've never exposed to anybody. And so on my mission too, right? Like you don't see your companions naked. So I was like, I've never been like naked in front of anybody. And so
I don't know how that's possible.
That was something that I was kind of scared of because I was very uncomfortable like being naked in front of someone.
Which was so weird.
And she was like, woo, like she was very free and like fun. And I was still, but like I was pretty like, this is awkward, you know?
Which I thought was so funny because I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought that you like weren't going to care at all. And I felt like I would be so nervous, but I was just like so comfortable with you that I was like, well, like, what am I nervous
but you
of?
had also been naked in front of other girls before.
Well, yeah, but
right?
That's like...
So maybe you're a little more used to it. Because like roommates...
Yeah, like I lived with like
companions
roommates, I think girls are just, I don't know, I guess guys just are less open.
Well, it depends because I hear stories of like the...
Guys slapping each other asses in the locker room naked.
Well, like, yeah, like foot... And now that I think of high school...
Maybe because you didn't do sports.
I think some guy... Well, we had to do... We were obligated to do sports, like physical education.
Oh, yeah.
But I think the most, like 80% of the guys showered, including myself, with underwear on.
What?
And a few were all naked.
Wait, no. With cotton underwear on?
Yeah. Like, why would you be naked in front of 30
and
people?
And then you put the wet underwear
I think that's weird.
under your clothes wet?
No, you take it off and you wear a new one.
Okay, well, where do you take it off?
When you're changing in the locker room by yourself.
In front of everybody.
Oh, no, it was in front of everybody. But it was very fast. Unless
even me in middle
Unless you
school,
went to the toilet to do it yourself. But usually, you would have to do it for everybody, but it was pretty fast.
Like, even me in middle school, we all had to change in front of each other.
I think that's weird. Why?
It's a little odd.
Why do we do that? It's really weird.
Because there's just no space.
Because I remember
like,
now, like,
we
would have, like, there were times that we kind of had to do it in front of each other. But I think it's really weird.
Yeah, like, I think they just don't have space for everybody, I guess, to have their own changing room. Like, but it's only weird if you make it weird. Like,
no, it's weird because
if
you're not used to being naked in front of 100 people or like 38 people, that's really weird. Why am I forced to be naked in front of people?
Well, I guess you could have gone to the toilet like a weird
I probably did.
and locked yourself in the toilet, and they're like, that guy's gay.
Yeah, it's odd. It's just odd.
And here's why that's why that doesn't make sense to me. Because even before, like, we never went all the way with each other, right? But we did, like, we made out a lot. Hands really didn't wander anywhere they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, we're pretty good.
But we were we really were devout and faithful. Like, it was hard, but we did. But we had gotten our apartment actually, like, a week
I had blue
before
balls
the
for the first time in my life. I had tons of blue balls, so... It is real.
I like hearing that. And then like we got in our apartment, and then
I
were
showered
walking, you
and then
showered.
left on my towel.
No, and he
But-
was walking around in his towel.
But it's also exposure therapy, honestly. I was trying to get used to the idea. Because I got an apartment, our apartment was gonna be in the same complex as where she was. And so we would kind of like nap together, sleep over, even like with my roommates, but not do anything. But I kind of wanted to just get used to it. So I get used to not feeling weird with less clothes on. I did it like once, probably. Once or twice, I don't know. But it was just to like get used to it. But anyways, a few tips if you're doing it for the first time and you don't want to struggle. I think that one, be patient and have no expectations, right? So make sure that you don't have this like, it has to be done at once, it has to be tonight, and that you both are okay with things taking longer. Second, for the girl, don't be afraid of
go on top.
Go on top 100%. So be on top. Third, don't be afraid of going all in if you don't want to torture yourself. But also,
Don't
number
get
4,
traumatized.
don't be afraid of taking your time. So it's like both, right?
You have to do what feels best for you, right? And you can be very logical in your head about like, I know I need to do it all at once. And if for you that logic makes more sense, then do it. If you're like me and you were super afraid, maybe like dipping your toe in. Some people are like they quit cold turkey and they stop things, like they stop a habit, and that works for them. Some people, it's like they smoke a pack a day and then they do 10 cigarettes and then 5. And I'm kind of more
they
of a
both
gradual
work,
person.
right?
So you have to do what works for you as long as you can get to the end goal. And also still make it fun. Like I was so frustrated, but Benjor did a really good job of still like making things fun and like fun, sexy games. And like, no, but even like fun games or just things to get you out of your head. Cause like, there's a lot of pressure, which again, just make sure you're with somebody who actually cares about you and doesn't want you to be suffering and isn't pressuring you and just wants to have a good time, you know.
Now,
with you.
when we also first got married, we were really broke, right? 21 in college, had nothing really going on. Since then, we've grown a lot in different ways. I've opened my business, she's opened hers. And I think that one of the biggest things that we've learned that's helped our marriage be good is that we both worked on ourselves, right? And like growing personally. So like, she got rid of a lot of her fears, including needles, for Botox and beauty procedures.
Hey, but
She'll go for the pain for those things. And now
Let's see
when
what's
she draws her blood, it's a lot easier, right? Because she's gotten used to those things. I've gotten used to being on camera. I hated being on camera. I hated my voice. I hated how crooked my teeth were before. And I still did those videos until I could pay for fake teeth. And so I think we've both grown a lot individually, pushing each other, helping each other grow. And that's what's helped us, make more money, be in a good relationship, be happier, get rid of work on your anxiety, depression, me working on my lack of empathy, right? Just growing individually helped us be better as a couple. And so I actually have a club called the Reality Engineers Club, where you're really putting the work to grow, right? To develop yourself and your career into what you want it to be. Most people have that dream, business or art or idea that they want to grow, but they don't have any idea of how to do it, or they're too afraid to put themselves in situations that are uncomfortable, right? So go to benjor.com/club and start your free trial right now. So you get the help you need to grow personally, to work on yourself, on your personal goals, while growing your lunch in the side business, to make more money, to be happier, to be more confident. So that's it for the club. Anything else you want to say?
No, if you have any questions specifically about anything, just leave them in the comments below. I know when it comes to this kind of a topic, we want to talk about it, but YouTube flags people. So we have to be really careful about what we're saying.
Don't even know what they flag, so this might get 5 views because they have no idea.
But if you want any answers to anything more specific, just leave them in the comments below, and I think we're pretty free to answer whatever we want on there.
Yeah, well, stay crazy, going for those big golden dreams in life. Subscribe for more, follow us on Instagram and all the platforms for daily content, and we'll see you next time.
See ya!
Bye!